Hello, welcome back. This is the next demo in the standard information platform. Today we're going to be covering streams. Streams are essentially vendor campaigns and buyer campaigns into one. So this is going to be for buyers who are consuming leads. They're not reselling leads. And so this is an easiest way to manage a lot of different lead sources or lead vendors in one place. This means you do not need to create vendor or buyer campaigns. And so if you're skipping ahead, this is going to be how we set this up. You do need to have already set up verticals. So if you have not set up verticals, please refer to the first video to go over how to set up verticals to make sure you have that in the platform. But if you have gotten your vertical set up, then we're going to go on how to create streams. This will be how you can manage everybody in one spot. It is very simple and straightforward to do this. So we're going to click on streams to add a new stream. So this is going to be a new data source or lead vendor for you. We're going to go ahead up to the top right-hand corner and we're going to click add stream. We can just add one here. So we're going to go lead vendor 3, and we're going to add a new legal entity. So lead vendor 3 Inc. You can leave the address, city, zip, state blank if you want. If you want to add in a website with a domain, we'll pull in the brand logo from that, and then I'll populate in your platform, or you can add your own if you want to customize this. In this case, we're just going to click save and return. So we have our lead vendor 3 and lead vendor 3 Inc. So this is pretty much all you really need to do. Since I am in a demo account, I'm going to double check here. This should be pre-populated for most users, but you want to check this really quickly and make sure this is going to be yourself. So this is typically going to be set to the name of the lead buying organization, which is probably going to be your organization name. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that this is filled in. So we have demo.org. Like I said, that should be filled in for most people, but do double check that. So we're going to go ahead and click save. And this is going to create our new lead source under streams. And so each lead source is going to have an unlimited number of campaigns. Each campaign is going to correspond to one of the verticals that you've made. So in the first video, we already created our first vertical, solar new. So we're going to add a campaign for that. This will allow lead sources or data vendors to send leads in. So we're going to go ahead and click plus add campaign here. We're going to do one for solar since that's the first one that we set up already. We're going to select our vertical, solar new, since that's the very first one we set up. Now you have 3 campaign types here. We have ping post. So this is going to be if your vendor is able to send ping post leads where they can ping the system, so they can ping in. You will return back a price. If you're the winning bidder, they will post the lead in. So it's a 2-step process. It's done automatically. If the lead vendor is just sending you a lead at a fixed price, but they are external to you, then it's going to be a direct post campaign. And then if you are generating your own leads, so if you're using Google, Facebook, Meta, or you have your own landing pages, it's going to be a capture. And it's going to give you some additional options here. In this case, we're going to assume that it's a ping post. And so we're going to click save here. So this is going to set it up so we have now a ping post campaign that you can send to your lead sources. At this point, for most people, you're going to be pretty much done in terms of like the actual setup. You're going to see this big blue button here called View Specs. If you click on this, it's going to have our generated specs. So you can send this to your lead or data source. It's going to have all the information that they need to be able to send in leads and integrate to the platform. It includes testing, URLs, XML or JSON, and then data examples. And so this is shareable. You can just copy and paste this URL and send it to your lead source and they can start integrating in. So that'll be that setup here. I'll run through everything really quickly. So price and limits, you will need to set the price that you are going to be paying per lead here. And so if this is in ping post, if the lead matches all the criteria, you're going to bid this price and it's going to be sent back to the vendor. If you're in direct post or direct post setup, then this will be the price that is paid every time a lead matches, and that's just a one-step setup. So we're going to go ahead and say $100. You can also set budgets here. So if you want to limit this vendor and have a max number of posts coming in for this campaign or a total budget, you can do that. You can also space out the leads or the pings and allow them to come in over time. And so if you want to have them broken up over the day, or if you're getting too many in the morning, you can use those settings. As we continue on here, go ahead and click save. We have our inputs. So most of the time, you're not going to be having to do much with this. But in the case that you need to override or you want to make changes for this specific campaign that are different from your vertical settings, you can do that. So you can override data, change requirements, change the format, things like that. We also have our version of AI, Amelia AI, built into the platform. This will autocorrect data coming in for a higher acceptance rate. So if someone typos something, it'll still be able to come into the platform, which is pretty unique. And so this will allow you to go through here. You can also view the specs in this section here. Most of the time, you're not going to be needing this section very often. If we go to the integration, this is going to be covered in the integration setup section. So you can skip ahead in the videos to integration training. It's going to be the same integration setup. And so you can see here how this goes. And specifically, you're going to want to go to the direct post integration training. So we'll cover that in the next video. But you have your integration and test integration. So we're going to skip through these. And then you have distributions, which is, again, additional ways you can send information out of this platform. So this will be, if you want other people to get an email or SMS or additional copies of the lead to be sent to other platforms or databases, you can set this up here as well. These three tabs will be covered in the integrations video. So skip ahead to that if you need to look at that. Back to just the general streams setup, we're going to jump over to filters. This is where you can add filters in. So any data that you get in, you can filter on. And so you can add a rule. So since we're dealing with solar, maybe you want to filter on roof shade. So we only want homes that have no shade or some shade. We can add another rule that maybe we only want people who own the property. You can add as many rules as you'd like. Whatever rules you place, leads must meet the rules to be accepted, either to be bid on or for it to be accepted into the campaign. So this will filter out any leads that do not meet your setups. Next thing you can do is add schedule days. So this is very straightforward. So if you want to do Monday, say 8 a.m. to Friday at 6 p.m. or 4 p.m. and then we're going to go New York. This will do the day parting for you every day. You don't need to put it Monday to Monday in. It will know that Monday to Friday will do the same day parting every day. You can add multiple schedules if you also have, say, like a weekend schedule where you just want to do Saturday, 8 a.m. to Saturday. Maybe you close a little bit earlier at 1 p.m. You can also set that up and set up different schedules so you can have different day schedules as you need. You can also add out blackout days. So, for example, if we wanted to do December 25th, we can add that in, and this will turn off the campaign on Christmas. And you can put in the time zone so we know the hours that it applies to. Last thing, which is going to be pretty important, is enabling location filters. So most lead buyers have locations that they are targeting, and they only want leads that are in those locations. So you can add in either zip codes. This can either be comma separated or separated by a space. You can just copy this in from wherever you're keeping it typically. The system will do validation, so it will not let you save, and it'll throw up an error message if it's not formatted correctly. But generally, you can copy and paste anything that you have in, and if it accepts, then it works. You can also set this up if you just have more broad state level filters. So you can say Alaska, Alabama, and you can say, hey, you're only going to be accepting leads in these locations. If you're outside the US, you can use the filters tab to do geolocations for your specific country or area. And you can just turn off the enable location filters if you're working outside of the US. Last two sections we're going to go over really quickly is going to be our allow block section. So allow blocks can be run in allow or block mode. By default, they're all in block mode, which allows all vendor campaigns that you've set up. So essentially allows this stream to come in. It's going to allow everything to come in here. But this is going to be, you can switch this to allow list. This is going to be specifically for sub IDs. So if this vendor has passing you sub IDs, you can accept all sub IDs, or you can block specific ones. If you switch this to an allow list, then it will only allow the specific sub IDs that you've already put in, and it will reject all other sub IDs. You can also do this for source IDs. or landing pages if you only want to accept certain landing pages, or if you want to reject certain landing pages. You can plug this in and you can make sure that you're only getting the leads or the data that you want. And then the last section is going to be the error section. This is going to show you a running list of errors as they occur, and it'll be campaign specific. You can also cover that, of course, in the logs on the left-hand side here, but that is a nice place to see them all aggregated as well. So that is going to be how you set up streams and how you use that. Again, the next section we're going to be covering for streams is going to be integrations, which covers integrations, testing integrations, and distributions. Please skip ahead to that video so you can finish the integration setup. Thank you so much.